Alrighty folks, this is Lurch from Ireland Gaming and welcome back to another episode of From the Depths. We are here with the Zena thrustercraft, just putting the finishing touches on this bulwark here. The last couple of passes. This is the third bulwark we've been fighting against, and it's a great way that I like to use to gauge your DPS, because bulwarks now have a crazy regen rate. They have really fast repairs, and it's not an accurate representation of your survivability. It isn't. It just isn't, because for a start, I'm sitting on it, and B, bulwarks have fairly poor anti-air. But it's a good way to gauge your DPS. Now, this has taken about 15 minutes to get this far, but my gauge is if it can defeat it before it runs out of fuel, then we're probably onto something fairly good. The last of 2 attempts failed because, well, we ran out of fuel. And in the time, the last probably hour that I've been tweaking with this, and I've made a couple of little changes. I have changed a staggering, whopping, wait for it, 8 blocks. Yep, 8 whole blocks. And 6 of them were thrusters. So, on the Zena here, first up, 2 of the blocks that I changed the cram chutes out to motor-driven barrels, because that just the other ones just would not fire when we were A, up at the higher altitude that I set in the AI, and B, at this velocity. So the cram chutes seem to work better at lower velocities and lower altitudes for their bombers, but this works okay with motor driven barrels now, and it's pretty devastating. A couple of other little tweaks. I added a range cap to the local weapon controllers. Pretty simple change. These are limited to 1 kilometer, they're limited to 800 meters. It's just so that they don't waste too much ammo whenever they're farther afield and just miss wildly. Other blocks I changed, I added these two ion thrusters, because sometimes it was getting stuck in the upper atmosphere, which has been known to happen to many aircraft in the past. You can see here we're climbing rapidly up to 490, yeah, there we are, 500, we're in space. But because I have these roll thrusters, I can get back down again, and I've also added them to the nose here as well, just in casey. Now that actually reduces our yaw control, which is a bit of a problem because it does slow down our yaw turning, as expected, but it works a lot better in the long run because we never get stuck in space, which is great. And there we go, we've defeated a bulwark with 6,000 fuel remaining. Now that is by no means mass amounts of DPS, but hey, it works, right? And it's a good gauge for, you know, what changes we have to make. And there really aren't too many. I'm pretty happy with the DPS now. It works pretty well. I would like to set the belt feeders on these to reload a little bit faster. I had set them to 10 seconds, but I'm going to set them even lower again. Just in case you didn't know, with the belt-fed autoloaders, if you go into them and press the Q menu, that's an intake. Let's just go in with build mode, because it's easier to see it that way. Come here, you. Getting really bad frames. Oh, that's the bulwark despawning. Yeah, if you go into a... Oh, let's shrink it so we can actually see. I'm on the autoloader here, and press Q. And these are belt-fed loaders. You can limit the amount of time it takes before they start reloading after they've stopped firing. So if you set it to like 5 seconds, it'll wait for 5 seconds. If it hasn't got anything to shoot at, it will start reloading. It's not really a great idea to set this too low, because sometimes you'll start reloading in the middle of combat or in the middle of an attack run, which isn't always great. So, you know, be a bit careful with it. But I'm going to set that a little bit lower, but it's a pretty fiddly job, so I'll do that quickly off camera. Changes that we have to make, very little actually. We want to add shields. I think shields are going to be important, and then I think that's more or less it. We can basically go to the combat montage and get this thing onto the workshop for you guys to play with, and get into the campaign and use it there. So yes, that was another idea. Someone did suggest with the tracers. Where are you, tracers? This is the tracer. You can change the colour in tracers, and if I remember right, 7 was red. Suggested red. I love that idea. So we're going to have red tracers hopefully whenever we come back. So I am going to install some shields very quickly here. Won't take a moment. Okay, that seems to be just about all we can get away with. There is a little bit of power overhead left, but a very, very little bit, and I would like to just leave a little bit spare just in case. So we're probably going to leave it at that as far as the shields are concerned. I'm going to go and put the shield color thingies in off camera quickly, and I will be right back. Okay, so I have the color changers in, and we've got the shields nice and extremely translucent, which is great. And I see my fuel gauge dropping rapidly. I just had a thought. A way that we could conserve a little bit of fuel is to turn the shields off whenever there's no enemies nearby. And I'm just going to show you how to do that now. Where is the ACB? There we are. We'll pop this upwards, and I need 2 of them. So we need 1 to turn them off, and 1 to turn them on again. Let's shrinky the block so we can see what's actually happening here, hopefully. Silly cram cannons in the way. So let's get this ACB here, and we're going to set this so if enemy is within... Activate if enemy range is less than 1,000 meters on the right here. And that's going to turn all off our shields. Where's my shields? Shield projectors. If there are enemy range is less than, we want to turn the shields on to reflect. So whenever there are any enemies within 1 kilometer, it will turn our shields to reflect. Okay? Great. Now we go here and tell it to when enemy range is greater than input or there are no enemies present, we will set this to 1001 if you want, and we will set our shields to off. So this means that when there are enemies outside of 1000 meters or there are no enemies nearby, it'll turn all the shields off. And you might have noticed in the sound there that the engines sort of dialed down a little bit whenever we put that setting in, which is cool because all of the shields are now off, and that will help preserve a little bit of fuel. And because this is such a fast aircraft, I mean it flies at over 100 meters per second, it is very hard to hit in most circumstances, especially at that range. So over a kilometer, we won't really need the shields anyway, so we might as well take advantage of that little bit of extra efficiency. So let's save this up because we are going to have to restart the designer and get a new one because we're straight into build mode. And our shields are all off. Lovely. Right, let her go. Off you go. Oh, that is another thing we need to add. Water balloons. So let's throw them in quickly as well. Now, where do we want to put... Hang on a second, why is there still lead in this? And I believe we have to add a water start card as well, don't we? Spoiled by Lua AI. Where do we put it? We have to put it in here somewhere. Oh blast, I haven't got room. Oh, that's interesting. Oh, I can make room. Don't you worry about that. Well, all we have to do is grab this with a prefab, actually. Let's do it the sneaky way. So there's 1 by 1, there's a tight space. Needs to be too long and too tall. And that will grab those 3 blocks, and it will save all of their settings as well, and that is the important part. Oh, she's falling out of the sky, oh no! Let's get this back in the right place. It is the right place. There we go. And now, it will have saved all of our lovely settings, and these are the current AI settings, by the way. Most extreme we allowed it to go for is 60, because otherwise it just falls out of the sky. I haven't really played with these too much. The attack run settings, they don't really make much difference when it takes this long to turn around anyway. Cruising altitude I've set moderately high, but it does like to cruise a lot higher than that. Anyway, we need to add the water start AI before I forget. Water start, there we are. And that's just that done, right? 15 meters is probably high enough. I hope we have enough to start it. And let's save up. And spawn something in. See what we can shoot at. Well, we'll do the old... Sweet! They missed. Nice. And they are deflecting some of the shells, which is not too bad. And we have done... Oh! Taken some barrels off there, and there's the reverse fire, which is pretty cool. Those little low caliber flak shells do so much damage. Or frags, sorry, frags, they're frags. But yeah, look at them destroying barrels and stuff there. They're really irritating. But the actual DPS of them is pretty good as well, to be honest. That's something I would like to address, because we have a serious tipping angle here. And I'm not really sure what the problem is. Seems to work okay though. I mean, looks pretty good. All those thrusters and stuff. They look like eyes and they look a little bit garish, to be honest. The cram shoots did look better, I must say. Oh, wobbly. But these are just really quite effective. They're pretty accurate whenever you limit them to quite a low range. So yeah, that's... I think it's pretty much done, right? Right. So, you know what that means? Well, first of all, I can put it onto the workshop. And second of all, that means you get a montage. So I do hope you enjoyed the video. Any likes, subs or comments are really, really awesome. I love hearing from you guys and I read every single comment. I really hope you enjoy the upcoming montage. As always, take it handy and have a bloody good day.